2014, when I was 19 years old, I got diagnosed with moderate ulcerative colitis. Later that year, I was also diagnosed with IBS, and last year, in 2020, I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis, which is a chronic autoimmune inflammatory condition of the bladder. So, what led to all of this? What caused it? There's a lot of different theories out there as to what can cause these chronic illnesses. There really is no set cause, I guess, for everybody. There's just kind of things that doctors say can be contributing factors. One of the biggest contributing factors to these conditions and pretty much any health condition out there is stress. And I strongly believe that that was one of the major things that led to the development of my chronic health conditions. So let's go back to when I was in college. I graduated with almost a 4.0. I was always stressed. I was very much an overachiever in college. I thought that every waking moment of my day had to be filled with productivity, and I was just never relaxed. Basically, I was under constant levels of stress and anxiety for 3.5 years. I did graduate a semester early, and I'm very grateful for that because I was pretty much at my breaking point and I was so ready to be done with school. So I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to graduate in December instead of May. But that being said, 3.5 years of that level of stress is not good for anybody, mentally or physically. So again, I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2014, which was the end of my freshman year. And throughout my entire time at college, I was never in remission. My mental and physical health were just not in a good place. I mean, there were definitely times when it was better, and I had a really good friend group, and there were a lot of great opportunities that I had in college. So it's not like, it doesn't have anything to do with the school that I went to. The school that I went to was very great. It was super nice. I loved it. I was very happy with that, and I feel like just inherently how I am, or how I was academically, would have been the case at any school that I would have went to. So right off the bat, freshman year, like I said, I was just under so much stress. I just put so much pressure on myself to always be productive, always be studying. I would spend hours doing my readings for my classes and taking notes and just trying to memorize everything, and it was a lot. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. That's what I thought was normal. And I know that all college students experience stress and anxiety. And so again, I just thought this is what college is. I'm supposed to constantly feel this way, and I'm supposed to constantly be doing something, and I can never take a break to do anything for myself and take care of myself because I have to hustle, I have to get perfect grades. That's how it's just supposed to be. And that was a very unhealthy mindset to be in. I was also focused on trying to obtain more academic scholarships, so there was that incentive as well. And I don't think anybody really knew how much stress I was under. They were just seeing the grades I got, and I was always being praised and encouraged for that. So I just kept up those habits. I can't begin to explain to you the feeling of constantly being in fight or flight mode. That's what it's like. It's that constant sense of panic. My heart was always racing. I was always jittery. It was just so hard to just relax. I mean, I was able to focus when I was studying and stuff because I felt like that's what I had to do, but it was just always go. And I would always start panicking if there were times when I was having trouble focusing. I just never took time to rest. And so as far as my physical health, I started to notice some symptoms kind of towards the end of my freshman year, and I'm kind of surprised it took that long for me to start noticing symptoms. In fact, the second semester of my freshman year, I was already freaking out like the very first day. You see the syllabus and all the things you have to do, and I was like, literally, like I said, I was in the library spending hours trying to comprehend this really difficult reading that I'm sure most of the class wasn't even doing. And I probably could have gotten away with just skimming it really quickly, but I just took everything so seriously, and I was just in panic mode the first day. And it was to the point where, like, I had met up with my RA at some point, or like just talked to her in passing, and she could see how stressed out I was, and she actually went with me to make an appointment at the counseling center because of how much I was freaking out. So that's just to put in perspective how bad it was. And I went to counseling every now and then throughout college, but it was never like super in-depth. That's a whole nother thing. So again, physical symptoms, end of freshman year. I think I described this briefly in like my diagnosis video, or one of the first videos I made, but I started just experiencing a lot of like digestive issues, just like discomfort, pain, cramping, constipation. My stools were starting to like look kind of funky. Sorry if that's TMI, but that's just what happens to a lot of people with IBS and ulcerative colitis. Those are pretty common first symptoms. And somehow it never occurred to me that it could have been stress related or anything. I thought maybe it was my diet because, I mean, a lot of college students don't eat the healthiest. So I tried to kind of like eat more fiber and, whatever, but like it like didn't really get better. And then I came home after my freshman year and my symptoms just continued from there for several months. Again, I have like a whole like diagnosis story I can link below to kind of just describe that in more detail, just so I'm not repeating the same video. And going into my sophomore year, it took several months to get diagnosed, but I had my colonoscopy. I was finally diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I didn't really get like a huge explanation of like what could have caused this or what to expect. I feel like with dealing with chronic illness, I mean, you just have to like learn stuff over time. Like you can talk to your doctor about it and like read stuff online, but I mean, every patient's experience is just so different, and so you kind of just have to like learn how to navigate your symptoms, how to speak up for yourself, to kind of do your own research and things like that. And so I knew again that like stress was a factor in a lot of illnesses, but to me that didn't really like pinpoint what could have caused it for me. Like it didn't occur to me that like, hey, maybe the amount of stress that I've been under could have like contributed to this. Like that never crossed my mind. So I kind of just like accepted my diagnosis. I knew like a lot of younger people get it over time, especially like women. So I was like, okay, well maybe I'm just one of the unlucky ones. But just reflecting back on kind of my whole college experience, like I said, I mean, I was just always in fight or flight mode. I don't know how else to describe it. There was very rarely a moment of peace and rest, and then having to deal with this new chronic illness for the last 2.5 years, combined with all the stress and all the things that I was doing, like my physical and mental health were so bad, and I was just trying to push through, and I still made a 4.0. Like I was just prioritizing just hustling and getting things done, and I did not have time to really like take care of myself and take time to reflect on everything that was going on. Of course I was taking my medications and everything, and there was some, mild improvement on and off, but I never actually achieved like remission from my ulcerative colitis until this past year. So every colonoscopy I've had from 2014 until end of 2020, there's always been something going on. And this past year, now that I've been on listening medication and my stress levels are pretty low, my ulcerative colitis is finally in remission, and I'm finally not having symptoms from it. And I'm just like kind of putting two and two together recently and just realizing like how much stress and anxiety had such a big impact on my life in so many ways and on my physical well-being, because I was just in pain every day when I was in college, and I just pushed through. I thought that was normal. I thought, like, I have to finish college, I have to keep studying and, you know, doing all these extra things to build up my resume and, you know, get a job and do all these things. And it never occurred to me to take a step back and assess the situation and maybe dial things down a little bit and take better care of myself. I was just used to feeling bad, and I just thought I needed to just keep doing what I was doing. So yeah, it was hard. I really was not prioritizing my physical and mental health very much at all. And I'm kind of just now, years later, reflecting on that, especially after getting my colonoscopy results late last year, and just kind of reflecting on the state of my health today. I've also been in therapy for about 2 years now. I've been on medication for anxiety and depression for almost 2 years now, maybe like a year and a half. And I'm like, I wish I would have done all these things to take care of my health at that time, but hindsight is 2020. I'm finally taking care of myself now. I'm done with school. My job, thankfully, is relatively stress-free. I'm in a much healthier relationship than I was, you know, at that time as well. Just so many things in my life are good. And on top of that, I'm taking time to prioritize my physical and mental well-being. And I'm just not realizing what a difference that makes. So that was a little bit about kind of my history with ulcerative colitis, and kind of how stress and anxiety impacted everything. And I just want to put that out there for anybody that might be in the situation. Just please take care of yourself. Please prioritize your physical and mental well-being. No job or, you know, university or anything is worth you spiraling physically and mentally. Again, I know there is going to be some stress associated with school and work and stuff, but like, it's not worth you being at the point that I was at, struggling with your physical and mental health so bad that you've developed a chronic illness potentially. And I mean, I can't describe just the feeling of perpetual anxiety that I had for years. Like, and just thinking about how damaging that is to the body. I mean, again, when you're stressed or anxious and you have that feeling, there's so many physical changes that happen just in that moment when you're in that fight or flight mode. And then imagine feeling that every day for years. Like, what does that do to the body and to the mind? And that was me. And it kind of all makes sense now. I'm not trying to say that I know definitively what caused my ulcerative colitis, and there's other risk factors involved and everything like that, but I do firmly believe that all the stress and anxiety and things like that I was dealing with is a big contributing factor to potentially why it developed and why it persisted for so long with minimal improvement. So please, if you're in that situation, just take a step back, you know, assess everything, assess if it's worth it, if there's any changes you can make in your life, and just please take care of yourself. Talk to people about your physical and mental health. Be proactive. Things will get better. Just please change your situation if you can. Take care of yourself, and yeah, you won't feel like this forever. Trust me. You have to prioritize your well-being and your physical health and your mental health as best as you can. So take it from me, somebody who's been through that. I would love to connect with anybody else that might have been in this situation or is in this situation. I'm a huge advocate for just taking care of yourself. So hoping to continue the conversation with some of you in the comments below or on my Instagram. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if it resonated with you in some way. Bye guys.